Welcome to What's in a Game. On today's show, more film of the 2026 Utah Jazz will be broken down than has ever been broken down before. Stay tuned. Welcome back to What's in a Game. I'm Grace Jean here with my co-host Will Jones. How are you doing today on this fine Thursday, Will?
Doing good. We're podcasting today right before the Lakers game. And we normally don't live stream on game days, but we're going to do it today because that's what our schedule dictated. And it's kind of fun. We can talk about the team before disaster strikes instead of after. Although we had been putting after a lot of wins, so I guess that'd be unfair to characterize it like that.
We definitely had a few losses sprinkled in there, especially over the last month and a half. Though the All-Star break gave us a bit of a reprieve. Yeah, so we're going to have a ton of film from the most recent game against the Utah Jazz because a surprise to me as I was going back in my rewatch of that game is that Denver actually did a lot of interesting stuff, like not necessarily new stuff, but a lot more of things that they hadn't been doing in at least recent weeks to go over. And there's a lot to talk about both on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, given that they had some new lineup looks that they, not new, but again, like sparingly used lineup looks that they used in that game, in particular the Val Jokic double big. So excited to go through that. I was actually thinking about this yesterday because I didn't expect to do that much prep for this show, given it was a game against the Utah Jazz and it was close. It was like, whatever. But I think I spent almost as much time reviewing film and taking notes from this game as I did watching heated rivalry analysis content yesterday. So that actually tells you how much work I put into this show, which is it's a high bar to clear, you guys. Please do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm as we try and grow the channel. All right. First things first, we have a quick little news item that in any other season would be probably a big deal because of all of the things going on with the roster. But the Denver Nuggets have signed Tyus Jones. I believe the team made that signing official yesterday. We found out that he was going to be the Nuggets' big get off the buyout market after Khris Middleton decided to stay in Dallas. Boo! Boo! Well, what was your reaction when you heard that Khris Middleton was going to be staying with the Mavericks for the rest of this season?
Surprised. It's a loser type of move. I mean,
I thought if we were going to get rejected by Khris, it would be for some other team. But the fact that he didn't do the buyout was
stay in Dallas.
I mean, his contract is is it 20 million or 30 million right now? Khris Middleton. And it would be prorated to the rest of the season, which is 20 games. So let's say a quarter of that. I just want to know how much money he would have been giving up. Okay, so it is 33 million. So $8 million is what the negotiated buyout would have been, and Denver would have probably given him the prorated minimum, which is $600K. So he's basically giving up, or would have been giving up $8 million for the chance to compete, which is I mean, I've never given up $8 million to be fair. I've never had $8 million to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered if it had something to do with, I don't know if there were other teams that were even if he'd been bought out, whether he would have chosen Denver anyway. But I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't want the chance to compete, given that last season was the first time he was on a non-competitive team in his career. yeah, so I was just kind of surprised by that news. Not necessarily that he didn't end up in Denver, but that he decided to just stay in Dallas
Yeah,
altogether.
stay in Dallas. And there was, I think, a little bit of color added to that report that he liked how Dallas was treating him and was settling in there. Kind of, I read something
Doesn't want
like
to
that
move again.
yeah, so if he just likes it there, that's cool. But Dallas, they have that reputation. I know they fired Nico and all that, and so maybe it's
Right.
improving. But
if Nico was still there, would he still be in Dallas?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe not. It would be hard to trust that.
Uh,
Well, so what do you think of Tyus Jones and David Roddy?
Right, Tyus Jones. And then David Roddy is reportedly, I don't think that this has been made officially yet, but David Roddy is reportedly getting that last two-way spot. And actually not the last two-way spot because we had already signed KJ Simpson. They're waiving Tamar Bates to sign David Roddy to a two-way spot, which was like kind of sad because Tamar did get an injury midseason that basically ended his season, and it's tough to get that on a two-way. I need to look up the exacts on the details on guarantees because two-way contracts aren't fully guaranteed like minimum contracts are.
Mm-hmm.
DA was on Altitude Radio talking about having to slide guards up to power forward the last few weeks and how like that's what David Roddy's going to help them out with, just like being another big body. And it's like, I mean, his literal nickname is Big Body Roddy. The last time I paid like a significant amount of attention to David Roddy's play was 2023 Summer League. So I don't have too much to say on that particular signing. I am a bit disappointed that they couldn't, like, in terms of getting like a big athletic forward. I don't think that they did that for that spot. And I actually think I probably would have been more not excited, but content, I guess, if that signing for that two-way spot had been like Kessler Edwards from our G League team, who, looked, like shows some athletic pop and, may or may not play. I don't even know if David Roddy's actually going to play because like, I think Adelman, just like the rest of the organization, is like really good at BSing us about like certain guys and like when they're going to play and not. So I guess only time will bear that out. And who knows how much longer AG and Peyton are even going to be out to open up those forward minutes. On Tyus Jones, I didn't really understand the signing at all, to be honest. I was pretty disappointed last week when I found out that Kyle Anderson was going to go back to Minnesota because I thought that he was going to bring like basically exactly what we needed in terms of having a playable forward that actually has some ball handling skills so that you don't need to sign a guard. And Denver was reportedly interested, but he's deciding to go back to Minnesota. And I'm just like, I hate Minnesota.
Yeah.
Forgetting Conley back, forgetting Io DeSumo, forgetting Kyle Anderson, who I was definitely on my target list for these buyouts, given our needs at forward.
Yeah.
So they signed Tyus Jones, and I'm like, okay, this was like probably what was best available on the market.
They got me all excited about KJ Simpson just to get another guard, but I get it. Obviously, KJ Simpson is not a vet and is unproven, so you get it. But
and he's too small.
Tyus, isn't he bigger than Tyus Jones?
No, he's not.
Wow, that's shocking to me. Tyus seems
I don't
like
care what he's listed as.
Alive.
He's definitely smaller. And I'm not saying that Tyus isn't too small. I'm saying KJ definitely is.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
And Tyus has experience, right? So
yeah.
I don't know if Tyus is going to play either. I don't know if either of these guys is going to play at all.
Yeah. It's funny, we were just talking about it. I mean, maybe a couple episodes ago about the buyout market and talking about how Tyus was still unsigned. And you said you've come around to my side where I was criticizing Tyus Jones. I mean, originally, I'm just going to tell the honest story of me not liking Tyus Jones. I think it was watching the Grizzlies play the Warriors in the playoffs. It might have been the year we won the title. I can't remember for sure. It's been too long. They lost to the Warriors, and then the Warriors, I think, lost to the Lakers. And then it might have been, the year we won the title, and then we beat the Lakers. And I really wanted the Grizzlies to beat the Warriors and knock them out. And I just saw Tyus bricking every shot kind of in a late game. And I was like, I thought this guy was supposed to be like the most underrated type of guard. He wanted a starting guard spot and all that. And now he's gone around to different teams. Supposed to stabilize the Suns. Didn't really happen. Now he's a buyout guy and we're getting him. But it is a need. Like some of his skill set is a need for us. It's just a matter if he can get minutes, like you said, and then actually execute those needs that we want.
He's probably going to get all those spot minutes that Pickett had been getting.
Yeah, right. Which is kind of
like,
it's interesting.
I don't really love that because like Pickett's great in spot minutes, or not great, but he's good. I think honestly, what this indicates to me more than anything is that they're not re-signing Pickett, because if you had any intention of doing that, you wouldn't be like yanking away all his minutes right at the end of the season, like all his like limited opportunities for minutes at the end of the season. Not re-signing, they're probably not going to pick up his team option, is what I mean, this summer.
Right.
So that is more of an indicator of like where they're going than like anything for this season.
Well, maybe it depends on how Tyus looks. Like if he's seems competent, you could pick up the option with Pickett. If not, then
I'm not saying they're going to keep Tyus.
Oh yeah, they could go away from both.
I'm just saying that they're not keeping Pickett. Like also, he has gotten very limited minutes this whole season, and now they're taking all of that away because Tyus didn't come here to not play. Like, sorry, he might not play, but he's not going to come here to like get lose minutes to Jalen Pickett, if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, I'm sure he talked about that. Like, why would he agree to come here? Like, he's looking for,
an opportunity to like rehab his value. And
so we're going to see it. I think they officially announced it today. I don't know if he's going to play today, though. Have you seen anything about that?
No. And I mean, we wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well,
guy, like,
yeah. Vyacheslav says he thought Tyus looked pretty useless in Orlando.
I will say Tyus had one of the worst starts to a season for an NBA player this year, and has grown to be a lot more like in line of what you'd expect from him, which is like not that much, but wasn't like a total disaster. Like would make shots, does occasionally look at the basket, wasn't turning the ball over, isn't as bad on defense as people say, but it is different being in a system where you have other like athletic defenders to like cover for you versus here in Denver, where there is a dearth of that, even compared to our baseline at the moment. So that is definitely a concern. I'm curious to see if he plays tonight. He'll probably play tomorrow. Like I feel like he'll play tomorrow because DA will try to manage minutes on the back-to-back. But yeah, I think he's probably just going to get the spot minutes that Pickett got. I'm trying to think of who else's minutes he might eat into. Maybe a little bit of Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't know, because DA does like Tim a lot. I would be really annoyed if it was eating into Bruce's minutes because he's really just catching his stride. He's bigger, better defender, all that stuff. And I think Bruce has actually been fine as not an orchestrator of offense, but like bringing the ball up and whatever. And I'm tired of playing so freaking small all the time. So I can't really predict like who else's minutes he'll eat into besides Pickett's, who like those are pretty limited. Oh, Julian's. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Thank you.
Which you kind of, I don't know. I'm mixed on that because he'd shown a little bit of progress recently. Yeah.
I'm not saying Julian will lose all of his minutes, but he'll probably get less.
Yeah, like someone. I mean, it's weird because the Nuggets need players. But there's only so many minutes, so yeah, it's worth thinking about. And David Roddy, CSU player. Like I haven't watched him in a while either, just because he kind of fell off and had moved around so many different teams. I was excited for him. Obviously, living in Colorado, CSU guy. They have a good basketball program for the most part. It's not like a huge college program, obviously, but usually pretty successful in terms of that type of college and conference. But first, I always figured he'd be on the Nuggets someday because we just sign like these Colorado dudes sometimes. Like they're more aware of these guys coming out of these schools.
Give us Neat Clifford.
He was probably available. He's like hanging out in Colorado. Who knows? But
yeah, but not Jalen Williams or Neat Clifford.
Yeah.
Or like,
they're too good.
Oh, Tristan Da Silva.
Oh yeah.
We gotta wait a few
has not been so great. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all we've got to say on the signings. Anything else before we jump into the film? Because we've got a lot of it.
Yes. Let's react to some of the film.
What's the why the air quotes?
Just trying not to get, flagged on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is clearly fair use. It's a lot of commentary and whatever. I don't care what the broadcast had to say. I watch most games on mute anyway. And over the last couple of weeks, I will say I've taken to listening to 2000s and 2010s playlists, like top hits during the games to make them less painful. Because if it's always a party, then it's never a funeral. Except vacation funerals are kind of like parties because that's how we do it. GP of St. John says, sometimes it's so hard to predict how one player's greatness or not so greatness will translate to a different type of team. Very true. All right, let's go to segment 1 here, which is about Jamal Murray's game against Utah Jazz. I think this was such like one of the clearest examples of a Jamal Murray win of the whole season. And it's interesting because like the previous game, I didn't think that not the previous game. The OKC game, and did we play anyone between OKC and Utah? Because we did play someone on the first half of that back-to-back, right? Was it OKC? We've played a lot of division. Oh, we played the Wolves. Okay. It was Wolves and then Jazz.
There you go.
A lot of division games this couple weeks stretch because they like backloaded the schedule so much. It's like annoying. Don't play the Thunder for like 3 months and then suddenly we're playing them 3 times in a 6-week span. Jamal was awesome in this game, particularly as a scorer. And he was doing all the classic Jamal stuff and also, throwing in some some spice on top of that. Bring up the driving fake corner 3. I can't remember if it was Keontae on Jamal here. This was just a simple spot up possession.
Yeah.
Where Jamal catches in the corner. So they're like fully zoning up on Jokic off the ball in the paint here, and then we get the ball to Jamal in the corner, and he completely fakes Keontae out of his shoes for like faking a drive, and then gets enough space to just rise up and fire. And I didn't think this was going in because it's so like off balance, like out completely out of rhythm type of thing. But these are the types of shots that Jamal can make.
Yeah. When catch and shoots are
and like
technically easier.
Look at the foot stance, like the toes, like you can't see it because of that one guy's head like fully, but it's like you hate that stance, right? Like there's no way that's going in if it's any other guy on the team.
Yeah, Jamal is a tough shot maker. That's what he makes a lot of money to do. It hasn't necessarily been in the clutch. It was good to see him be this aggressive, though. He'd kind of fallen off in terms of his explosiveness and his production. And we were wondering, was he just tired after carrying the load from Jokic being out? And here again, he's having a great game. Question though, at the beginning of this play, what do you think of this closeout on Christian Braun?
Yeah, it's a short closeout.
But like he's jumping, hands up.
Yeah, but it was
not
really
able to stop him. Puts him in rotation.
The way that he jumps is to prevent an entry pass.
Yes.
Right. It's like vertical, and he's like okay, try to stop him from the drive, maybe drive him middle into some help here. But the point isn't to stop a shot, obviously, because they're like, Christian's not going to take this if you even like stunt in his direction, and he doesn't. That's been a running theme of the last however long of Christian's career, actually, not just the last few weeks. But did you have more specific thoughts on that closeout?
It's just you usually don't see anyone with their hands up like that, running out so hard and jumping, right? When on a Christian closeout. But you're right. It's interesting to stop an entry pass.
Yeah.
Even still, he closed out probably a little too far, and then that put him in rotation
Yeah.
there. So it's kind of cool when you see any closeout that's leading to
I'm glad that
rotation
Christian
when Christian's
attacks
down.
the closeout.
Yeah, and
Right?
that too.
Instead of
I
just being
fully
like,
believe in him
oh,
for
I'm
that.
like, the shot is stopped. Like, let me just work it around. Even though that would have also resulted in Jamal getting that ball in the corner.
Yeah.
But you like to see him get aggressive and actually collapse the defense and, make something happen too. So yeah, that was pretty nasty. Could you go to the other nasty corner three? Because this one was just absurd. I actually, in my rewatch, I forgot to look for this, and I saw it in the game. It's like, whoa! Like I forgot that had happened with like 2 seconds left on the clock. This was another one where on this possession, I was pretty. This isn't in the clip because of the way that the play-by-play works, but Christian had an open three opportunity and turned it down to hand the ball back off to Jamal, and he's being completely ignored again. And I'm like, well, Jamal's not going to pass to him because there's no time left on the clock, and he's not sure that Christian will like take the shot in time. So that's pretty annoying. Like looking at the way that Jamal has to be defended here. And it's not because of what like Christian does the right thing here and like handing off and like ghosting into open space, whatever. But early on that possession, he had the opportunity to do the exact same thing and he just didn't take the shot and was like, So didn't love that hesitation from him in this particular game.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal wants to attack too. Right there is pretty aggressive, but I mean, Collier's
well. There's like no time on the clock, so he's not giving the ball up at this point.
Yeah, that'd be
he's
bad.
like, let me just try to get a shot up.
And it was an amazing shot.
Yeah. Let's go to the catch and shoot off the Zeke flare. This was in some limited minutes in the second quarter where Zeke was at center. Just like, this is one of the basics things that you can do that make, Jamal such a versatile player. And this is just like a pretty basic set. And it works because it is 34 Shibwe, whoever was guarding Zeke, playing all the way off of him. And he's like begging for somebody to like take Jamal. Like he's slipping into open space. And it just presents
defensive decision.
It presents issues for a defense that wants to ignore that player. And it was good. I was like, Zeke, you set a screen that worked. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, he still is a pro player who knows how to set a little cross screen for a good shooter.
Yeah.
But the rest of the Zeke conversation is more complicated.
Let's go to the transition corner three here. The reason I want to point this one out is actually that I can probably count on one hand the number of times that Jamal is the first guy back in transition to the point where he is completely wide open in the corner in transition. He's taken transition corner threes, but it's usually trailing and like everyone's in the paint. But here he was all the way down there and somebody else is running to the paint. So the defense takes the people going to the rim. And then Jamal's just like free, wide open, which I thought was an interesting choice by them. But maybe they just weren't expecting him to get down there that quickly. A lot of threes in this game for Jamal. I think he went, was it 8 of 14? And the number of attempts obviously stands out because even for the 8 of 13, actually, so even more efficient. But the number of attempts stands out because we like when Jamal takes 8 or more threes in a game, especially in this one. I think that some of the lineup decisions like necessitated that because especially in like those double big minutes, you're not like driving into the paint to get a midi like although he did find ways to create space for those types of shots as well. Let's go to the sidestep three next. So this was one just isolation against Filipowski. Just whoop, like making him dance here. and creates the space. I don't even know if you like call this a sidestep three, to be honest. It's kind of like, he's able to keep that pivot foot down and then reestablish his base. So it's pretty similar to that first corner three in that he does the same thing where he has to like keep the pivot foot down and kind of create space by like faking the guy out. But I much prefer the stability of the base here, even though it's still not like the best stance. Like the opposite. The other one was too narrow. This one's pretty wide. And he's turning to his right as a right-handed shooter, which is not, ideal. But Jamal's actually pretty good at this shot.
His feet are so wide as he's going up to jump, which a lot of people don't necessarily consider a lot of the time. But when you're like this off balance and you're technically jumping to the right, having that wide of a stance really helps you still like elevate and get the ball on target.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Footwork from Jamal.
So actually, like that's a good thing to point out, because I was trying to figure out why I felt more comfortable watching this like too wide stance in this instance versus the too narrow stance in that first shot that we looked at. And that's probably it, is like, I don't know how he got the elevation to like get that shot off clean. Zmaya says what Jamal can hit, a few can do. Yep. And he does it like with, relative consistency considering the difficulty of the shots here. Zmaya says Jamal's the type of person to score low on easy tests, but be flawless in a difficult one. That's very, very true. And this season has been difficult, right? Like Jokic is out for a month. Jamal's like, hold up, I got this. Right? I'm gonna make the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is that previous seasons were just too easy for him.
Yeah.
Let's go to the side, or the step through pivot layup. So more great footwork from Jamal here. So he's driving on, I think that's Elijah Harkless. Keeps that pivot foot down the whole time to get this step through off, and it's just like, nope. If you've got precise footwork, you can negate a lot of good defense. Like, I wouldn't even say that Harkless did anything wrong here. He actually did a pretty good job in terms of process defensively as a point of attack defender in this game, but he's too small for Jamal also. Like, Jamal very easily bumped him off there.
Let's see. A little bit of a travel, but I'm going to give it. Hey, we're a Nuggets podcast. But, Jamal has a kind of step through game. Like, he has step through floaters. That was a little step through layup.
Yeah. He's been doing a lot of step through floaters this season. It feels like more so than before. I think because teams are starting to crowd him more in that mid-range jumper area. So he can't necessarily get that shot off, but he can kind of like figure out a way to like step through and do like a lot of these like leaning floaters that he definitely did in the past, but it feels like the volume has gone up this season. GP of St. John, I felt worse after this win versus the Jazz than after some losses. I mean, it wasn't a great defensive game. I was just glad it didn't go to overtime, because it was a painful watch. It was easier to watch on rewatch actually because of some of the interesting stuff here. Let's see what else he does here. So there's a 27-footer in transition that he gets off here. It's just a kind of a stop and pop, like catch and shoot. So he's trailing and then just steps right into it off that pass from Christian. But actually, if you could go to the 3-point miss, I really like the way that Jamal maneuvers around Jokic being fronted here, because he's like, let me just create some space instead of trying to get Jokic the ball. And we're going to get to another section of this discussion where we talk about the numerous forced entry passes to Jokic from Jamal and others throughout this game that resulted in turnovers, because it's like there's no window here, there's no angle, but what there is space to either drive, or in this case, like Jamal is able to get off like a very open, in my opinion, jump shot that he just misses. But it's because he is, skilled enough to recognize that there's no no entry here, and then be able to create kind of manipulate the space that is given by the Jazz by virtue of their commitment to fronting Jokic on that possession.
Yeah. We're just obviously we have a user named Serb Jokic in the chat who really does not like Jamal. And yeah, look, Jamal he played really well when Jokic was out. He was the only dude who was keeping us in this particular game. But I know there's kind of a narrative out there that Jokic hasn't been his best lately, which is, true compared to how he was playing at the beginning of the season, and he's working through an injury. But Jokic is doing very well still. It's not like he's terrible. We're not saying he's bad. We're just highlighting how great Jamal was in this game to help us get this win. And he was the guy. He was the best guy for us that night.
Yeah, and obviously Jokic has been struggling since the injury. He hasn't been quite as he has been looking better than the first 5 games since he came back, because it was crazy, right? We had the Clippers game, and really and I forget if I even mentioned this in the last show. He was not good through 3 quarters of that game, and then just turned it on in that 4th quarter, and then five straight games after that were just what is going on here? But obviously he's coming back from the injury. I do think that there's been inconsistency is the thing now, where it's okay, we've seen the moments of greatness, but it's not on both sides of the ball for any game, let alone a consistent stretch. Or it's okay, there's still the turnovers are this constant issue now, and it's okay, can't be turning the ball over that much. For somebody in your position. But then you have a game against the Thunder, where he was 14-3 assist to turnover ratio. And it's okay, well, sometimes that's not the issue. So it's just a matter of putting it all together. That is still, on the table for Jokic. But back to Jamal. If you could go to the miss for free throws. This was on a semi-transition drive, and I really liked this possession because so Christian sets this really high screen for Jamal, and he completely abuses the space that Ace Bailey gives him on this. I don't know if Ace if they were meaning to switch, or if Ace thought they were hedging here, because he was just completely unprepared, and Jamal took full advantage of that open stance, and Christian keeps the other guy from helping number 10. Is that oh my gosh, I forget his name. Svi Mikhailov, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
And Jamal's able to get all the way downhill, and that was almost and one, right? But he gets free throws here. Nice to see him have that burst too. I thought he looked a lot better physically in this game than the last 2 or 3, whenever he would pop up in the injury report with that hamstring tightness, which is I'm still worried about that, because I don't think that just totally goes away. But and he hasn't taken any games off, but he did look better for sure, just movement wise, in this game than he had in games prior. He actually looked it was crazy, because the night before against the Wolves, it was even dude, you can barely move.
Yeah.
Until that 3rd quarter, when he came alive and kind of tried to keep us in that game, but it was still okay, not creating space. It's still the Jazz, but it's evident how much easier Jamal was moving in this game. And
yeah, he wasn't he was having full speed running in transition on that play. He was dribbling at a pretty normal speed and then just turned it on, and the defender clearly did not anticipate it. So, but
again, Christian setting the screen before the defense is fully set, completely catches them off guard. That's why Ace is I don't know what I'm doing here. So that's always good to see. I love semi-transition offense. Just it doesn't have to be the seemingly endless reckless breakaways that the Nuggets have had this season in transition. It's okay, you trick them, you trick yourself into thinking you're running half court offense so that you don't make those kinds of mistakes, but you garner a lot of the same advantages of attacking directly in transition, or not necessarily on a fast break, but attacking in transition, which is just making sure the defense isn't fully set and you can catch them off guard. He had this another insane three, was this leaner going left. Think I can't remember how many of these shots like Keontae made during this game too that looked just like that. But just like more kind of tough shot making. Pickett originally like sets a flare screen for him, but I actually think that Collier is able to jump out and contest it from the side, but Jamal's just like completely, he's in the zone by this point in the game. So he doesn't see it.
His ability to pull up, like I know catch and shoot is very easy, but we've seen multiple times, or it's easier in theory than a pull up three, but we've seen time and time again these off balance leaning shots from Jamal. It's crazy when you witness it.
Yeah. So you talked about some of Jamal's, you kind of alluded to some of Jamal's like struggling more like in the clutch. Would you be surprised to know that Jamal's actually shooting, is that, oh wait, that's the wrong stats. I was like, that's not right. He's not shooting 68% in the clutch this season, but he is shooting 51% from the field in the clutch this season and 37% from three, 37.5% from three. I think that would surprise some people because of how stilted the two-man game has looked. And it's not just the shot making, obviously. Things like turnovers have also been an issue, not just for Jamal, but also Jokic, but especially Jamal. Because of, the ball handling there. But the actual shot making has actually been pretty good in those situations. And I've got some good examples from this game as well. You could go to the clutch turnaround fade. So this was just Jamal basically, running two-man game with Jokic. And then just being like, okay, they're fronting Jokic, so I'm just attacking Filipowski on an island. It's so interesting how the Jazz are regarding the two-man game here, not just Jokic, but you've got Filipowski on Jamal. I'm pretty sure that this was from a switch. Like it was probably Ace Bailey on Jamal first, and then they switched They switched it when on the first screen. And now they're like, okay, Jamal's trying to get the entry pass to Jokic. So now Ace is going to front Jokic. And if you can see on the backside there, Harkless is on his way to leaving Bruce. So you could just push play there. And Bruce is like in the dunker spot. He could have cut there and like made himself available to just have Jamal like pass him the ball directly, right? At that point, maybe it's a little crowded because of just where Jokic's positioning is. But you can see just how teams are guarding the two-man game a lot more 3-on-2 in a variety of ways. Like sometimes it's like way up to the point that like Jamal can't even like get this kind of shot off. But in this case, it's just like stop the roller at any cost and while keeping a guy on Jamal. But Jamal's able to take advantage in this instance because he can just create that outside shot with that with that fadeaway. And Bruce and Jokic were both in great offensive rebounding position as a result of the fronting on Jokic, and two, Harkless originally leaving Bruce to try to help on the roll on Jokic, and then kind of like trying to scramble back and find his man. But Jamal makes the shot, so it's whatever. Then let's see. Okay, so Jamal actually had some really nice dimes in this game as well. Let's go to the bounce pass to Tim. I loved this play because it was another great example of Jamal like having good chemistry with Jokic in these situations with the front. So this play really reminds me of one of the first possessions of the finals in 2023 when Eric Spoelstra had Bam fronting Jokic and Jamal's like, I'm just going to drive. And then he got to the baseline for a fadeaway because they didn't have this third defender coming in. But here they did, and I believe that's Ace Bailey again. And that leaves Keontae George trying to guard 2.5 on the backside because I think Collier is just not paying attention to Christian at all. And Tim very smartly creeps along the baseline, and Jamal's able to find him for this dime. And that is how you can weaponize the way that teams want to guard Jokic, but we basically just have one player on the team who can make that play, and that's Jamal, and that's like a problem. Right? It's not just making the play, it's like recognizing that opportunity because of the space that the Jazz are de facto initially ceding to you because they're fronting Jokic. It's like, oh, I can use Jokic and his guy as a screen to get my initial guy off of me. That forces Ace Bailey to rotate over, and that creates the opportunity for Tim to get wide open under the basket, right? I don't know another player on the team that has made a play like that against Jokic getting fronted. The best thing that somebody else has been able to do is maybe like, okay, Jokic is getting fronted and then they're rotating help on the backside. That means somebody's open in the corner. We're just working the ball around the perimeter to try and find someone open in the corner, right? But this obviously, because of what Jamal's able to recognize and how he is able to attack on the ball, results in an even higher percentage shot.
Yeah, and it's just more important. I mean, we're going to go over it later, how aggressively they're fronting Jokic and harder to get him into the offense. We're going to show the passes of trying to get, these forced entry passes that have been frustrating you. So getting Jamal free and in space to make reads like this, like he can be a really good passer and playmaker. So
yeah, I wish we had another one.
Right,
or like a mini, right? Like I don't see Jalen Pickett making this play. Like he would be someone to work the ball around the perimeter. I don't think that Jalen Pickett sees, okay, Jokic is being fronted and thinks be aggressive. He's probably thinking he can get the ball somewhere else or try to get the ball to Jokic. And we'll see examples of that where he's actually successful, even against these tight the tight ways that Jokic has been guarded off the ball. If you could go to the Julian missed 3. So this is another example of Jamal improvising off of a Jokic front. So is that Keontae guarding Jamal and then Ace Bailey fronting Jokic? Jamal takes advantage of that open lane. If you could let this one play again. And it's like, oh, okay, they're fronting Jokic and not leaving him. So then Filipowski rotates over. So very similar to the last play, except Julian isn't necessarily cutting. Actually, Jonas is right there too. So that forces Keontae to pinch all the way in. And that just leaves Julian. I mean, Keontae doesn't actually pinch it. I don't think Keontae's like guarding anybody here. But you can see Jonas is like, I'm open, bro. And Jamal's thinking about it, but because of the way that Filipowski sort of helps, it makes that passing angle difficult, but he's able to get it to an open Julian in the corner. And Julian misses this 3, but obviously Jonas gets the putback, right? So just another example of a way to attack the front against Jokic, but it requires like somebody on the ball to like be able to both recognize that opportunity and be able to make those plays. These are the types of plays that I'm thinking of in my head when I'm always harping on the need for secondary on-ball creation on this team. You don't need to be able to do everything that Jamal Murray can do in terms of the tough shot making and whatever, but the ability to attack, opportunistically attack space that is ceded to you by the other team by virtue of these aggressive coverages on Jokic, and just like extend advantages. So the way that Jamal, it's not just about Jamal just like driving down and being able to get the layup, but being able to, make the play either to Jonas or in this case to Julian in the corner and like extend that advantage. And then obviously like Julian's not able to capitalize there, but then Jonas gets the putback.
Especially just trying to get dribble penetration and looking to the weak side, because that's where you're going to have way more space. So
Exactly. And the most recent Altitude Sports Radio interview with DA, he was talking about this a lot. He's like, guys need to be more aggressive when Jokic is being covered like that. He basically said everything that I'm saying right now. Instead of trying to force the ball to them, it's like somebody's open. And he even said specifically, it's not just about working the ball around the perimeter. You can drive and kick. And he talked about trying to get the ball. Like sometimes it'll help you get the ball to Jokic, because if you can get the ball to the weak side, you might force the defense to scramble a little bit more and like like
Mm-hmm.
leave some angle like open for him. But you have to get the ball to the weak side sometimes 2 or 3 times on a possession. But he doesn't like when they are just like standing there and like staring at it, as in like the ball handler is like staring at Jokic being fronted and like trying to get position and um not able to, and then trying to, waiting too long, right? Basically, like you have to be more proactive in not just catching the defense off guard, but forcing them um to get off guard. Okay, so this was you go to the pass to Val. So this was a miss, but Val ends up getting free throws on this play. I believe Jokic or Jamal ends up getting blitzed. Yeah. And he's able to just find Jonas in the middle there. And I mean, Elijah Harkless is not going to stop Jonas there. So he has to foul him pretty hard. And you can see like the minute that ball gets to Jonas, they try to fully shrink on him in the paint. But Filipowski is so far out that he just doesn't have time to fully recover there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some double big looks in Val. I'm definitely curious your thoughts on Jonas these days.
I mean, I think he had his first good game in a while against the Jazz, to be honest. Like it's been,
let's hope it keeps going.
A really long time, actually, because he was out for almost the entire time that Jokic was out. I think he probably had a good game or two before Jokic came back, but before that, it was like another month. So he's another player that's like coming back from injury, and maybe he deserves a little bit more grace than I was giving him, because it's like, well, you're a bench player. Like, how much you just have to not be terrible, and he had been terrible until really last game.
Mm-hmm.
But I will definitely talk about it when we get to the double big stuff. The last thing on Jamal plays here, you can go to this Julian 3. This is just Julian running through. He's just like kind of slipping screens, kind of ghosted, but just makes himself available on this like really short drive and kick. Just a simple play by Jamal, and Julian was able to knock this one down. The 3-point shooting for Julian has been a lot better lately. I thought he had actually played pretty well for most of the season in his very limited minutes, but the 3-point shot was just not really going down. I think he was shooting somewhere in the 30s before the turn of the calendar. And also like he was injured at the same time as other guys were injured, so it was very limited minutes. And I think like the second half, or like the last week of January, basically around the same time that Bruce started to get good, so did Julian, in terms of Julian's shot making, I should say. The defense has still been an issue. He had like a 2-week stretch in there where it was like, okay, I don't notice him negatively on defense, but it's starting to kind of creep back in again. And I'm curious what that looks like when we have more of our defensive guys back in. Whether he'll even play when like Peyton and AG are back too is definitely a question. Could you bring up that Vyacheslav?
Yeah, well, people in the chat are talking about finding counters to aggressive coverages on Jokic, and that's some of what we're talking about. But Vyacheslav saying, when you allow defense to look like wrestling, it's hard to make an advantage. Too much illegal defense to pass.
That's true. Like a lot of defensive 3 seconds doesn't even get noticed. I haven't even thought about that, because it's so hard. I'm not going to sit there and like, when I'm watching like a play happening, I'm not watching, how many seconds the center was like, what do you call it? Like tap dancing in and out of the lane for their like 2.9s. So that's hard to notice when I'm just like watching film, because it's not something I'm looking for. There's so many other like aspects of the play, but it is something that happens a lot, especially when you've got these like small teams guarding Jokic, because you basically have one person at all times playing some kind of safety on him, whether they're rotating from the back or dedicated to fronting him if a certain player gets the ball, which often seems like that person is whoever's guarding Christian.
But I think he's saying lots of grabbing, like in this game. Like, we'll get to some of it, but Jokic was clearly frustrated with the fronting and grabbing, and
they should let us do the same to SGA and all perimeter players, frankly. I mean, all perimeter players, not Jamal, because I think that Jamal deals with a lot of grabbing too, and like hopefully we goes uncalled.
Yeah, I think wasn't there some stat about, was it this Jazz games where like most 40-point, it was like a 45-point game with, or like most efficient 40-point game with low free throws, something like that. But
I think that
he's always
Jamal has
getting
the
these points with
most 45-point games with like 90% plus true shooting or something, which is hilarious because he doesn't have that many 45-point games.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you the only avenue for him to get that kind of game is to be super efficient, because he's not as high usage as some of the other guys that would be on that list, and he doesn't get free throws as many free throws as some of the guys that would be on that list. Steph is probably an exception where I'm like, oh, I'm surprised that Steph doesn't have more of those, because like he's another guy that has to be super efficient, and is because of the 3-point shot. Cameron Johnson says we are 10-0 when Jamal scores 40 plus, and like 2-6 when Jokic does it. Okay. All right, let's get to the double big, which is a big part of the meat of this conversation here. So David Adelman did something very interesting and unexpected to me, honestly, in this game, in starting both Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas in a game where I think this was the first game, right, that Cam missed since he'd come back, right? So he missed it with the ankle that he had injured during the Wolves game, or re-injured. I don't know. He said it's like a recurring thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know who would be starting. I definitely wouldn't have guessed Jonas, but it was him. And we probably got, I think this is probably the game where we got the most double big of any game in the season. Because even versus the Rockets, the only time we started double big was in I think the game where AG first got injured in November, where we started double big in the second half, I think. I might be wrong about even that. So we got a lot of it, around 11 or 12 minutes of double big in this game. So DA would start the first and third quarters this way. And I have some interesting plays both on offense and defense to show like what it looks like when we kind of go for this look. Let's first go to this dead ball play. It was the first offensive possession of the game. So the Jazz had fouled, and so we got like a little something off an inbounds, and basically it's like a little double screen for Jamal, and he gets all the way downhill. He gets free throws off of it. You can see it's interesting here because Harkless was more concerned about Jamal inbounding to Jonas. So he tried to front both. He tried to front Jonas. Oh, okay. So it was not Jamal, but he didn't want Jokic to inbound to Jonas, which is interesting. That is where they thought it was going to go. And maybe they just didn't want Jamal to like run into a handoff with Jonas immediately after, but that's just, it's like, okay, fine, I'll just toss it to Jamal. I don't know. That was an interesting defensive strategy, I guess, from Utah there.
That's hard to fight through two big dudes like that. Like you're fighting through Jokic and Val on that double drag. Like that is a lot.
Yeah. And I guess who was it that was guarding Jokic? Because Filipowski was behind Val, right?
Who was
guarding Jokic? Oh, he was, because he was the inbounder. It was Harkless.
Yeah, he was the. But Jokic goes to him.
So I was thinking, like, why aren't they dropping back more? But it's because Jamal is in the corner and Keontae's on him. So that's what opens up the lane there.
Technically switch the first one, and then he fights through. Yeah, gets caught on the Val screen.
So that was interesting. Love some bone crushing screens. It's like having.
If you're gonna throw them out there, that's what you should be doing.
It's like having
to a degree
a good run blocking unit. I guess the Broncos wouldn't know anything about that.
Whoa, Broncos commentary.
No, their pass protection is top tier, though. That's why that was what was so anomalous about the AFC Championship game. I was like, what?
Except when, well, I think some people. Well, I don't know. Let's not get too much into it, but people were saying It was more like because we didn't have Bo Nix to like, run the offense harder for the O-line.
That's true. I will say his his ability to evade sacks.
Yeah, evade
probably makes the pass protection unit look better than it is, even though it's pretty good. All right, let's go to the let's get back to basketball. Jonas bucket flashing middle. So Julian's just able to get the ball to Jonas here. And I wanted to point this one out because, again, you've got Jokic trying to post, this guy fronting him, Jokic trying to draw the off-ball foul. And by the way, like I don't have like a section in the discussion about this.
Mm-hmm.
But someone was asking, like, I think it was a friend of the show, Gifted Hoops, who we haven't had on the show yet, but he's had us on his show. It was like, why, like he was talking about Jokic's generational PR because of all the flopping he does compared to like SGA, and like why he doesn't get as much hate as SGA does. And I'm like, it's because SGA does it on shooting fouls and Jokic does it off ball, and people are paying attention to what's happening on the ball more than they're paying attention to what happens off the ball, myself included, because it wasn't until rewatch that I noticed all of the times that Jokic is doing this, or that notice all the times he's getting fouled off the ball, which is another reason that he doesn't get as many calls, is because I think the refs are also mostly paying attention to what's happening on the ball, and Jokic isn't really drawing, or is more rarely trying to draw shooting fouls compared to like SGA. It's like every possession, right?
Yeah, but it's
so that's
also,
why.
And it's completely different set of rules for how much contact is allowed
on
someone
but
like
in terms
Jokic.
of like he was asking more about like fans, like why fans don't complain about it. It's like because they're not paying attention to what's happening off the ball. That's why.
Oh yeah, like fans even outside of Denver, or like whatever. I also just think he doesn't do it as much. Like honestly,
I wouldn't know because I don't pay attention to what's happening off the ball enough to be able to say, but I do know that SGA does it a lot on the ball, and that's where the eye is drawn.
And he has high usage, so it's going to happen a lot.
Yes. So Yoke is able to be used as a decoy there. Filipowski's completely ignoring Val at this point because he's trying to act as sort of backline support for, I can't tell if it was Ace or Harkless that was fronting Jokic there. I think it was Harkless. And then Val's able to just spring open in the middle of the zone, and Julian gets him the ball. And that's one of the things that is something to pay attention to in terms of the having another, particularly a threat with a catch radius. I'm not saying that Jonas is like a huge scoring threat or anything like that, but he's big and he can score inside for sure. But he also has the catch radius to take advantage of like any amount of open space when Jokic is drawing all of that attention. So that's an advantage of having both of them on the floor. I'm not saying that this is why DA started Jonas, but it ended up working out this way, that I think that we were a lot more successful against like Jokic being fronted when Jonas was on the floor than when he wasn't, for a variety of reasons. Part of it is not just when Jokic was being fronted. A lot of the times the Jazz were like, I don't know which big we're supposed to be stopping right now, because they were playing super small. So they were at a size disadvantage at multiple positions. And so they had to, make a few business decisions in that sense. And I think that there were more opportunities for one, not that last play, but for Jokic to even get entry passes in the first place when Jonas was on the floor. But even when he couldn't, it's like, well, there's somebody else. There's another easy option for that. Whether it's going to be then result in like Jonas, like, attacking one-on-one, or like if you go to the next play here, the Julian missed three. And this isn't Jonas in the middle of the floor, but it's Jonas able to is that the wrong? Oh no, that's the wrong missed three.
It is a missed three.
Yeah, but okay. So what the other play that I was thinking of is Jokic and Jonas both on the floor. They're able to enter the ball to Jonas, and you've got two guys on Jokic who's trying to post one in the middle of the paint. Somebody comes to help, leaves Julian completely open in the corner, and Julian I think he misses it was like the second possession of the game. He misses the 3, but it was a wide open shot, right? Wide open corner 3 for what is ostensibly a good 3-point shooter. Let's go to if you could play these two together, the CB missed corner 3 and then the Jamal banked layup. Okay, so Jamal gets Christian the ball in the corner here, and they're leaving Christian wide open or to be able to deal with both Jokic and Val. And then you can play the Jamal banked layup. So he misses the shot, unfortunately. Those corner threes, I just never think. I'm shocked whenever a corner 3 from Christian goes in. But he gets the offensive rebound.
It was so open, too.
Yeah. But he gets the offensive rebound and gets the ball back to Jamal. If you could play the Jamal banked layup.
Yeah, and just 1v1 on the perimeter. And a little hezzy, puts him on his hip, and then
it's not playing for me.
Oh, it's not? Oh, no. I got you guys.
Okay.
I'm looking at it and no one else is seeing it.
Yeah, if you could play that. So he gets the ball back, and then and that's like the other way that Christian can attack being left wide open is even when he misses a shot. He's available like fully to offensive rebound, and he's a good offensive rebounder. So then you've got Keontae trying to deal with Jamal, and Jamal's like, I will not be having any of this. And he's able to get all the way downhill, even with both bigs. There, Jonas on the baseline, Jokic in the paint, because of how he's able to, maneuver through a relatively crowded space. They weren't trying to stop him because like the guys are like pressed up on their bigs, and then they're like, Keontae, come on, can you catch up with your guy? You've kind of got Flip that's Filipowski trying to play both. He's like, oh, just try not to. He's like, let me like fake contest, but really I'm more concerned with you passing to Jokic or Jonas here, but especially Jokic, right? And that's just another example of Jamal kind of manipulating the space that is ceded to him by the defense, right? God, and I wish we had another player who could make these plays.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks too. I mean, that little floater like that, like you said, people are in the paint already because of the matchup. Right. And he's got to do that over the top floater shot. It's not like a shot that's clear right at the rim. Christian,
he's thinking, oh no, they're contesting me. Let me try to like make a contested pass to either Jokic or Jonas here, especially Jokic. But Jamal's, I don't know if it's just because Jamal's aggressive enough that he doesn't care if they're throwing these like kind of half-hearted contests, or because he understands that like, oh, these guys are like fake contesting, but they're really pressed up on the guys that they're trying to stop here with it, which is Jokic. So I have an opportunity, but either way, like more of this, please, from somebody else. It's like going through the game. It was the thing that stood out to me about Jamal's performance is that nobody else was making any kind of similar play throughout the game. Guys would make shots, and that's great, like off of the gravity, but they weren't like, nobody was trying to create or manipulate. And it's like, I know what these players are capable of, and I know that that's not necessarily their game, but it's annoying. I wish that they could do like a little of it, or have the confidence to, because I've seen it's like stuff that you've seen them do in spurts, like little like pockets throughout the season or throughout their careers, but just never on a consistent basis. And yeah, it's that sucks.
Well, at least we have Jamal doing it.
Yeah.
Did you ever like wane in confidence for Jamal coming out of this All-Star break, or you felt like he looked okay?
No, I was like, man, this guy needs a break. I was just like, he needs a break.
Right.
And I still think he needs a break. Because this is the first game that I've thought that he looked like, he didn't look great defensively in this game, but he didn't look as bad as he had over the last, since the break, coming out of the break, and even before the break. And honestly, Jamal has not been good defensively since January started, since the beginning of January, because of like Jokic being out and all of that stuff. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to improving, but I also don't see how that happens if he doesn't get a break.
Yeah.
But Mike, the shot making has just continued to be there, not consistently, but in pockets. This was not the only game in this last like month
Mhm.
stretch, but like definitely the best example of like, okay, he was good like throughout the game. Um, Whereas we've had like Murray flurries for the past since Jokic got back, basically less consistent than he had been, even though the overall numbers look the same. But it wasn't, yeah, I wasn't waning in my confidence in his ability to like get to this point. It was just like, and still is like, I really need this guy to get a break so that he can be like fresh
How he had
for
been.
this home
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah, as much as he can. And we talked about Tyus earlier. It's not like I'm so confident in Tyus being able to replace anything that Jamal does, but does it open the door to maybe intentionally rest Jamal more? Or,
Mm,
I don't know.
I
And
don't know.
it's been
We'll
tough too
see.
because, yeah, people have been calling for more like Murray or Jokic staggers than playing in minutes
I mean, the last
just
time
to
they got a guard on
stabilize.
the buyout market, it was Reggie, right? And he just barely played down the stretch of the season. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It could be, I could see it being like that. You just
yeah,
never know. But getting us to the regular season, if he can do something, that would be a huge bonus.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so back to more double big stuff. So we had a Jokic turnover here. So this was beginning of the third quarter, some attempted high-low action. So first, Jamal enters to Jokic there. And Jokic sees there's like, okay, there's two guys on me. Val is kind of getting space. So it's not the craziest thing for him to try to make this entry pass. It's just that I think Keontae makes a good play here in as soon as Jokic gets the ball, he's like, I am just responsible for making sure that Val can't get the ball. Because if he does, I have no freaking chance, right? Um, I think they make this 3-2. No, they don't. Okay,
Oh, they
great.
miss it. Well, yeah, thank
um,
goodness. Yeah, I don't think he thought, I think that was Keontae George. I
mhm.
don't think that Jokic thought he could recover because Jokic was kind of, or Val was kind of pushing him and he just kind of loaded up on his feet and just kind of sprung back and almost like a safety Jokic wasn't seeing on the field.
Would have been nice if Val took advantage of the fact that Keontae was fronting him originally and just kind of like get him on his back to completely cut off any possibility of Keontae like recovering to where Jokic was going to throw the ball. Because it's clear that a high-low kind of deal here, big to big pass is what the play called for. So they knew what they were trying to do. So I don't think Val has been particularly good at sealing this season, like worse than even Jokic. And I think Jokic has had more issues with that this year than in years past. Um, and sometimes he just kind of like gives up on it but still wants the ball. So this was not like the most egregious example of that, but it's definitely something to watch because obviously the better he is at sealing, the more viable these double big lineups are going to be because that's another um, you know, weapon in the arsenal for
Yeah.
these looks like another argument for this to be on the floor, especially in terms of being a matchup problem. Let's go to the Jonas post hook. So this one was interesting. They entered the ball to Christian enters the ball to Jonas and then tries to cut through, but then Bailey completely ignores Christian to try and double Val. Then he makes this tough shot. How do you feel about this possession watching it? Besides the shot actually going in, obviously. Like if this shot had missed, how would you feel about it?
Hmm. He's not deep in the paint getting this ball in this post entry, so he's got to work in. Double team comes. That could have been an easy steal. It's
Yeah.
amazing that he worked his way out of that and got the ball off cleanly and scored it. It looked bad almost. A double team from his weak side. Almost didn't expect it. I mean, it's hard to separate the fact that I knew that he made it.
I didn't like it's not that I didn't like Christian cutting because Val would have needed the space to work the ball into the post anyway. So Christian really would have wanted to take his defender with him. This is a tough one because if it's Jokic there, I think Christian cuts faster and it's just like an easy, like Jokic to Gary Harris looking play for a layup at the rim. But I don't think that Val and Christian have that kind of chemistry yet. So Christian's not cutting very hard. his defender is able to leave him completely and double Val, and Christian goes to like seal his man. It's interesting because he doesn't like set an exit screen for Julian. He comes in on the inside to try and make himself available for a pass from Val.
I don't know if he did it.
Is that Cody Williams number 5? I think so.
Yeah, I think I just
and Val is like not making that pass, but he's already looking at the basket, which is fine.
I don't know if Christian thought it's a weird cut. It's not hard. It's not fast. He kind of just walking through.
If it was a harder cut, honestly, 16, which I think is Harkless, would have probably either gone with him or not been able to tag him as easily. And if he'd gone with him, that leaves Jokic open on the perimeter, which is like, I don't love that shot, but like it's there. And like Jokic is capable of making that shot, obviously. But I think he should have cut harder. I think I would have felt better about it if he'd cut harder. I don't think Val necessarily would have been
able to make
gotten him the ball, because I think that the Jazz actually just did a decent job of trapping him there. But it was just a weird, like, I get what they were going for, but I also understand why the Jazz were able to stop it, because they weren't. Obviously, Jonas makes the shot, but they were able to stop it from being like a possession that makes me feel good. If that
could his aggressive cutting have stopped his defender from being able to trap altogether? Like, I know maybe 16 could have covered or something, but
that's hard when Julian's defender is ignoring him. So that's another one. That's another thing to pay attention to, is like maybe Val should have just been looking for that corner sling.
That's another hard pass, possibly, depending.
Yeah, especially for Val. Like, I don't trust his passing mechanics. Just interesting. That possession definitely presented an interesting scenario. And I think part of why they went to that at that point is they're like, we keep trying to post Jokic and they're fronting him. Let's just try something else with this same double big look and see, like, let's just see how the defense reacts. Like, it definitely felt a little bit more like a fact-finding type of game than a win at all costs kind of situation from the coaches. Although, again, with all the injuries, like, it's hard to tell what the objectives are.
The part about this game that annoyed me was just seeing other fans reacting to it who aren't necessarily Nuggets fans, who are appreciating, Keontae George and how exciting this new Jazz team looks. They're going to be a league pass team, all that commentary. And meanwhile, we're struggling. And I was looking forward to this being an easy game. The Jazz are usually an easy game, but they're definitely going to be a little bit better with their personnel.
I think we got spoiled by the Nuggets being able to sweep the Jazz in the season series for the first time in like franchise history.
Yeah, we know the Salt Lake curse has always been a thing. It hadn't been for a bit, so
yeah.
And like, we haven't played this team very much with these guys, so I don't know if it's like a scouting report thing, not as familiar, not as predictable.
I think we were just trying stuff on the second half of back to back. Honestly, I felt really annoyed by it in the moment, though not as annoyed as I would have been if I weren't listening to my 2011 top hits playlist during the game. But on rewatch, I was like, okay, we're just like trying different things. It would have been really annoying to lose the game, but I'm just glad they got out of there with a win. And like, huge credit to Jamal for that. And we'll get to the defense, which I think was like the bigger story in this game than the offense, even though with the turnovers, Utah had 27 points off turnovers with like 2 minutes left in the game, which is a lot. It's actually really hard to lose a game when you get that many points off turnovers. The fact that Denver was able to pull it out despite that was, I think, demonstrated the gap that exists between these two teams more so than the final score did. Watched Utah Sixers. Keontae couldn't score anything in the last 10 minutes. I mean, sure. Yemen, Adam Silver may not have to ban them from Dibansa. This kid is talking about staying in school for at least another year because his mom wants him to graduate with a degree. And somebody needs to talk to her because I don't think a degree is going to be worth the earning potential that being the 1 or 2 overall pick will be. Um, all right, let's go to the Val putback miss. So this was a miss here, but I felt like Denver should have been able to score on this possession. Because Christian ends up, I think he ends up spotting up here. Okay, no, so he cuts, Jokic gets him, and it's like, okay, we're driving to the basket, and maybe he shouldn't have made that layup because I think Cody Williams makes a good contest there, but I think that Christian should be able to make the play. Like, I feel like Peyton makes this dump off pass to Jonas. And then it's just like a dunk or a layup. But Christian missed it. And then it's like, okay, well, Val got the rebound, and Val should have made that layup. So like, I don't think this was a possession they missed, but I don't think it was a bad possession. It was just like they should have scored here. How do you feel about it watching? Like, was there anything process wise that you didn't like on that one?
Let's look at it. I mean, he's trying not to dribble, so he's trying to go just off the jump. He's in the middle of the lane, and there's a guy in front of him, so he's got to jump around. He is really.
It's good you point out he's trying not to dribble.
Yeah, Julian, just so he can go right
open in the corner, which like illustrates the fact that it does not matter who you have on the floor. Teams are going to leave 3-point shooters open when you've got, especially when you've got both Jonas and Jokic on the floor.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Jazz has some skinny guys in the paint.
Yeah.
Jazz have skinny guys. Val gets that rebound. Not surprised about that. It's interesting that you say Peyton could have maybe made that dump off pass. I would have loved to see that. I like that you have confidence and you want to do it.
Well, Peyton makes the dump off pass. That's something that, is that he does pretty consistently, at least relative to Christian. Christian is good at like finding weird passing angles to Jokic, not so much with other people.
Yeah, you don't see. Yeah.
Whereas there are certain like passing types that are pretty consistently in Peyton's repertoire.
Yeah, he has that connection with Jokic, like both of them. It's less so with other people. Yeah, and CB's just like a score first. He's like a score mentality off the cut. Like that's just what he's been, and it's been successful.
There have been times where he's like cutting down and doesn't look at the basket because he sees that the paint is shrinking and kicks out to the corner. He didn't in this case. I don't think that was a crazy thing to do. I think Cody Williams just got a really good contest. And not just that he got a good contest, but he did it in such a way like early enough in Christian's cut that he couldn't even get a good kind of jump on it. So when I first watched it, I was thinking, why did he take this like weird shot angle? And it really was because of Cody Williams' contest, but it's also the same reason that should have been a dump off pass. So that's like a processing thing. But like you said, if he's thinking score here because he's normally able to, especially when he's able to, get that running start on the cut, then he wouldn't have had any reason to really think like I won't be able to at least get free throws here, if nothing else. All right, let's go to the CB corner 3 off the double drag for Jamal. So more bone crushing screens from the two centers here. Jamal ends up rejecting, uses Jonas's screen, rejects Jokic's screen. Kind of like it's weird. He's just like, I'm just gonna use these two guys as walls. And Filipowski leaves Christian in the corner to try and help on Jamal's drive.
Look at Val push.
I mean, Ace Bailey was pretty bad defensively in this game. That was my biggest takeaway from the film in terms of like the Jazz defense. He definitely had his moments fronting at times, but other than that, he was kind of a disaster on the perimeter and got really lost at times. So that's definitely something to, an area of growth for him. Obviously, he's a rookie. And he's just got to get used to dealing with this is what perimeter players at the NBA level, like how they play and how I need to be ready to defend them. There's much less margin for error in those moments. But yeah, how did you feel about that possession? Another one where it's just Jamal manipulating the space that is given to him.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a read because you're never quite sure how people are going to, or, defenders are going to react to Jokic and Val being out there potentially setting an action for him. Anything could kind of happen. Jokic could pop. It's probably unlikely they're both going to roll. Val's a big guy who can just take someone someone's going to have to take him. It's a smaller guy who's tagging him, which is why then, we're pulling, is that Filipowski in the corner. So, just causing someone to be able to tag and getting a guy. I know people sag off CB as it is, but regardless of who is in the corner, it's a good read from Jamal. And then seeing CB hit the shot wide open is what we want for sure. Because, we haven't talked about the OKC game, but, not hitting shots when we need to was definitely
that was a good defensive game, but
it
also helps that OKC's offense is what it is. But then you end up in a situation where they get completely boat raced in the clutch and overtime again. Viegasla says, what to say about OKC game? Yoke goes to bench and we lose all advantage in both halves. Yes, and also they couldn't close even with Jokic on the floor. So that was just a continuation of the rest of the season. When this game against Utah went to the clutch, I was like, are they going to lose this for real?
Yeah, we were all scared. Yeah, we won. I don't remember the stats or anything, but we won the Jokic minutes in the OKC game.
Right? Yeah, but not in the second half.
Not in the second half.
No. All right, let's go to last one here for the offense here. This was the Tim turnover. I wanted to ask you what you thought happened on this possession. So this was one where Jokic is this is the one everyone's
is the one
citing online with Jokic putting all his body weight on Keontae. Was Keontae's trying to front him and whatever. But Tim is trying to find an angle to get somebody the ball, and they're fully zoning up on both Jokic and Val, and then Ace. So this was a good defensive, rep by Ace, kind of acting as a second safety in this alignment here, to keep the ball from getting to Jonas or Jamal. Harkless, again, he played a lot in this game. Elijah Harkless did. And then Tim makes this. It's a bad pass, but it's also a good play by Ace. Tim is just I got to get the ball out to somebody because I'm not able to get a shot off here. And then they recognize his desperation. And,
I think Tim was thinking he was going to shoot and then realized he couldn't.
Yeah.
Looks over. Jamal's really far away, too. It's not he's in the slot.
Yeah.
But I think it had no chance because he was going up and had no power on that pass at all. But also a good play from the Jazz. And Jokic is over there trying to show the refs how insane it is that Keontae George was completely just grabbing his waistline
I actually think this possession, I'm fine with all of this being a no call because everyone's complaining about Keontae's fouling him with the way that he's grabbing him to front. It probably should also be a foul for Jokic to be on top of Keontae. If it was independent of the way that Keontae was fouling him, it would be a foul to just be on top of somebody. But if you're allowing the first, then you allow the second, and it's no call, and I'm fine with that. What I'm not okay with, and let me see if I can find, let's see here. I had a whole diatribe about this in one of my group chats, actually, and I need to tweet this out because it was
the DMs.
It was a pretty it's my own. It's my messages, so it's okay. So I'll just read what I said. I actually support Jokic using his physical advantage in terms of his weight to try and negate small guys getting under him. He is slow, and sometimes it's too hard for him to fight around those guys because of their quickness. But especially if they can use their size in terms of their lower center of gravity to get under him. So I think it's fair for him to be like, I'm calling your bluff. If you want to try to get under me, like I'm going to make sure you're under me. And then eventually maybe he is able to get around them by catching them off balance in like them trying to figure out how to deal with like where the center of his weight is relative to them. But I said, for the love of God, if it doesn't work and he can't get position, go set a damn screen instead of standing near the paint like a dummy, which is what happened a lot in this game. Was like, okay, you're not getting the call. Now go somewhere else instead of that's what happened on that play with Tim, right? Is like Tim's like trying to find an outlet. It's not there because of the way that Jokic and Jonas are being dually guarded. If it doesn't work within the first 15 seconds of the possession, go do something else because they're not going to do anything for you.
Hey, the shot clock was really winding down on that too. Yeah. So, I mean, it's getting close. Yeah, I mean, this is the discussion with Jokic right now. Is he getting too distracted by not getting calls? He's obviously he's trying to prove to the refs how ridiculous this stuff is and over exaggerating in ways where he's like flopping over like this on to these defenders, and whether you think it's justified or not, Jokic is not going to change the ref's mind.
And this was like that play was happening throughout the game again, and that I know a lot of people were talking about it like live during the game, but it's just not what I was watching, right? And a lot of it's happening off the ball, and again, like the refs are supposed to be paying attention to everything, but obviously they're going to be paying attention to the main play, right? And that's part of why that stuff doesn't get called as much, is because it's not part of the main play because he operates so much off the ball. But if you can't get that call, it's like, okay, go to the ball, go try to get go try to. And he did get some of these in the game where he gets fouled with like somebody grabbing him while he's screening and that kind of thing. But like this off ball stuff is like, all right, we talked about it being like useful to like maybe get them in the bonus and like all of this stuff, but it doesn't yield the same fruit in terms of like free throws per flop as being involved in the main play. So it's kind of a waste of energy, especially if it goes on like deeper into the possessions. So like I said, it's like, okay, I'm okay with like the tactic in this particular instance, and I'm okay with this being a no call because it was just, to me, those things cancel out. But if it's not working, go do something else.
Yeah, you're going to be better off. I mean, I do think Jokic, I don't think he necessarily wants free throws, but I think he wants foul to be called so that they can't just keep guarding this way. Then the offense is open like, the rest of the game. Off-ball
fouls being called, we reset, and then they just get a turnover off of our inbounds.
Right? Yeah. And so
it's kind of like using a challenge to dispute an out of bounds, or like using a challenge to try and prevent Rudy Gobert from shooting free throws. Is like, I mean, sure, you might win it, but like, is it really worth it?
So you're in the camp of you want to, like keep playing, play the game. Don't concern yourself with calls and non-calls.
No, don't do it within. You can concern yourself with calls. Don't do it in the last 15 seconds of the shot clock.
Yeah.
Especially off ball, right? Like, because that's not doing anything for the team besides holding up the possession, which is what happened more often in this game. And we'll get to it when we get to the entry pass stuff, because that was part of it. But how did you feel about the double big offense overall, based on, the clips that we saw here?
Yeah, I didn't expect necessarily to see it in this game. I do like how it opened up Jamal, and like the timing on that was good because Jamal was having a great game and he was making shots, he was making reads, he was explosive off the dribble. And when you have big guys like that, and you also wouldn't think he'd be able to score in the paint. Like we just saw clips where he had a really nice finish over Filipowski. With two guys in the paint, you think the paint's not going to be open at all. How's Jamal going to drive and get any looks? He scored. A lot of these are tough shots. Jamal's a really good player. I'm not like thinking it's making me feel so good that we're going to need to see it a lot more or anything, but at least it seems somewhat productive and not a total waste. I want to see more versus other teams, I guess, if I'm going to like have any definitive conclusions about it. But especially if Val's playing better as of late, because I know people have been really low on him, not putting together convincing games by any definition of the word. So I don't know. How about you? Where are you feeling on double bigs?
It's a mixed bag. I think they're still working things out, but I think there's opportunity there. And that's not surprising because I think the most like exciting thing about the possibility when we heard Adelman kind of talking about it in the summer was the offense anyway, and really the question is the defense. So let's get to some of the defensive possessions here. Let's go to the first one, which is flip flashing off of kind of a soft zone. We played a lot of zone, unsurprisingly, with this double big look, especially against the Jazz playing so small. So in this possession, they're kind of playing like a 2-3. Filipowski is able to kind of flash middle when Val kind of moves down to the baseline, and then he gets free throws off of this. I'm confused as to why that was allowed to happen, given that Val was also completely ignoring Harkless. But then again, I guess Val doesn't want to like fully commit to flip because then like maybe Harkless. I think you should be in this instance when you've got two bigs in the paint. You shouldn't care if Harkless like cuts back door, because I think one of you will be able to recover to him and stop him from, especially with his size, making like an easy layup. And it's going to be harder to get that pass into him with everybody in the paint. Whereas like with Filipowski, like he just does what you're supposed to do against 2-3 zone. He flashes middle, gets open. But what I would have liked to see is something more similar to what, at least like versus Utah. And again, like it was clear in this game, they're just kind of trying things to see like how this would work. I would have liked to see something similar to what Miami did to Denver in the finals, where they had like a Caleb Martin or sometimes Gabe Vincent, somebody dedicated to fronting the guy who flashes middle to prevent that entry pass, or at least make it harder by the defense some time.
Yeah,
obviously that leaves like another person open on the weak side for either cuts or whatever. But the difference is that Miami did not have two full-size centers to play in this look. Like they were incredibly small, and that was a big part of the problem with them. And the fact that they were small magnified the disadvantage that zone gives in terms of allowing offensive rebounding opportunities for other teams. And like a cutter like Christian was able to fully take advantage of the one big in Bam being away from the rim at times in the zone. Whereas we've got two here, and I'm not saying they're rim protectors, but they're just like big bodies, and I don't think that they should be afraid of Elijah Harkless cutting.
No.
You know?
And he was in position for a cut. Anyway,
right.
He's pretty close to the baseline. That's
right.
where the problem was almost. There's no chance he was going to close out on a three either.
Right. I guess that's the thing is like, you're like, I don't want the three, but I don't even remember. They were ignoring him on the perimeter regardless of who was on the floor in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Denver was ignoring Harkless. So I don't think that was necessarily it. Anyway,
plus you have Jokic's man setting the screen, so he's kind of stepping up.
Yeah.
He's going to be in, I don't know.
So I think Val should pinch in a little bit more here. And that's why I call this a pretty soft zone. Like sometimes you see zones that are just a little bit tighter, even when it's the same, like 2-3. And you kind of force the ball to get to the furthest possible place away from like the ball handler, whoever has the ball in that moment. And then you give the defense as much time to recover, and the zone can kind of morph itself at that point.
And Tim's stunting really far over on this drive, almost like, I mean, he's going to try and help on a drive, and Jokic is there to potentially stop
I think part of that is that Tim didn't realize where Filipowski was at this point, because Filipowski had already started relocating, and maybe Tim should have been the one to pinch in more, and he should be that guy that's like, okay, I'm preventing the entry pass here. But he's worried about Cody Williams. I think Cody Williams is the guy, honestly, that I would be like, I'm fully ignoring him. I don't care where he is on the floor. We're going to be guarding this 5-on-4. because he is either not shooting or he's super efficient or inefficient or, whatever. But anyway, like I don't want to be too critical of like this one possession because it was just like, okay, we're playing the zone with the double bigs. Let's see like how this works out. Let's go to the flip miss for free throws. So this was the Utah Jazz running pick and roll against like kind of the same look. It was like a I'm not sure if we were playing zone or if we were trying to like soft blitz here, but Jokic comes over as the low man against the pick and roll and then isn't fully committed to flip, and he sees that and he completely takes advantage of it and ends up getting free throws out of it. I actually thought that he shouldn't have gotten free throws. This was like the same play that got overturned basically at the end of the game. I just think he missed. Like, it's a pretty soft layup attempt. And I thought Filipowski was actually really good in this game, but he still wasn't like 100% on some of these plays. But I thought this was a good Jazz offensive rep against what we were doing. And I don't think that anybody was like fully committed to their role here. Like, I don't think Jonas was fully committed to that blitz. I don't think Christian was as committed to that chase as he should have been, which is what made like that pass to flip so easy. And there was a lot wrong here in terms of the execution. But I didn't have any issue with the coverage here. I thought this was more like a point of attack execution thing. And then Jokic was like trying to play too, and he's just in no man's land. And maybe he could have also been better at that, where it's like, just commit and see what flip does.
Yeah. Well,
because Julian ends up taking that guy, and then it's like, well,
yeah,
Harkless 3. Just see if he even makes that play.
Clearly, they wanted to force the ball out of George's hands, which I understand. He was killing
I don't think we did that enough, by the way. Like, I'm complaining about the one possession where we tried to blitz him, but it's like, that's just the blitz was a little too soft. This was actually a good pass by him.
He made a very quick read and jump and then passed it over their head. So good play by him. But I did like that Julian took this cut. Like, just like you said, it's a positive sign. But yeah, it was good in theory.
Yes. Let's go to the flip as a roller, which is I think another one. I hope this is a different clip. Okay, yeah. So this is another one where it's not quite pick and roll. Here, I guess Keontae had just come off a handoff with Filipowski. He bumps flip bumps Julian out of the way, and Jonas is playing like a pretty soft drop here. What you want to see from Julian, honestly, at this point is like Jonas has stepped up. Julian doesn't recognize that what he needs to be doing is playing the pocket pass.
Yeah. He's just
because it's like you have been taken out of the play. Now you need to make up for it. And you're not going to make up for it by recovering to Keontae, obviously. But what you can do is recover to the pass. But he wasn't able to do that. And I'm not saying to get in front of Filipowski because he's not going to be able to do that either. But you want to be able to recover to the pass there. So I put that one more on Julian. Because Jonas, I was like, oh, he's playing kind of a soft drop. But he does step up in time.
He stopped the ball. That means the pocket pass is open. So someone's gonna have to has the responsibility there.
All right, let's go to the Keontae turnover on a late hedge. So this one, I actually like what we did here. Play it a little bit tighter. Keontae slows down a little bit, and I think that was also kind of on him. I think he could have maybe barreled through the lane a little bit more, but he was trying to make a smart play, and I think that he made the right read, but he just wasn't able to execute that pass to Ace here. So they kind of, I mean, Christian doesn't even really get screened, so I don't know why he ends up behind Keontae here. But he's just committed to chasing. Jokic steps up. Ace gets behind. Or that's not Ace. That's that's Cody Williams. And we're ignoring him. And it's not. I don't blame Cody here. I think it was a bad pass. And Jokic kind of, he doesn't get a hand on the ball, but he kind of makes the passing angle a little bit weird. And I thought that was a pretty good one.
I think Jokic could have been in position had it been a better pass and he had it in
Yeah.
the paint to
Who is, if you
deter.
could just bring that one up, back up real quick, who is Val guarding on this possession? Is he on Harkless? He's
Oh,
kind
he's
of
on.
on the corner and like helping off the
He's
corner a
initially
little
on
bit. Oh, he's on Flip.
Filipowski,
Okay. Yeah.
and then they kind of do
And
a
then they're just
swap.
like crowd. So that's part of the reason that Keontae picks up his dribble here is because of Jonas trying to bother the ball a little bit here. So this is a very team effort kind of stop.
Yeah, and it's like you have two bigs on the floor. You're attacking the paint. That's kind of what we want. We don't want them throwing out to the perimeter and having to run around. So
yeah,
definitely played in our hands there.
For sure. And actually, we didn't see a ton of drive and kick from Utah in this game. It was a lot of Keontae, isolation, pick and roll. And it's not that you can still run drive and kick offense against a zone. And we have some examples of Utah trying to do that, but it wasn't in high volume. And that surprised me given it's like, you guys are playing small. Isn't this the whole like goal of like how you want to play today? Which was surprising because I thought that actually the dribble penetration was was not contained well by Denver, especially in the first half of this game. So there were opportunities to drive and kick, but a lot of it was like drive and score, or drive and score attempt instead of drive and kick, from Utah. So maybe you just put that more on them than Denver. Let's see. That was the turnover. Okay, let's go to the Keontae turnover. Val got a steal here. Another example of Christian. They at some point in this game, they just committed to like, Christian, you're getting totally torched by this guy, so we need you to commit to being a chaser. So Christian kind of lets him get ahead and chases from behind. He's kind of playing the pass a little bit, and I don't know if he got a hand on that one, but it was like a bad pass, and I think it was just a bad pass. Pass. Even if it had gotten to the roller or Filipowski, Jokic and Jonas are both like there enough. Like Jokic is there enough to try and contest something from Cody Williams. And I think Jonas would have been able to close out to Filipowski if Filip tried to take a shot. Now, if Filipowski had tried to drive, that's a different question, but it's a bad pass and Jonas is able to secure the ball there.
I think what happened is Tim hits the roller. I don't know who it is, but he kind of bumps him right here.
Cody Williams.
And he reacts just
so
enough to where he's not there to catch the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
another
not able to
great
get it.
Team effort defensive stop there.
Being physical, that's what we asked for.
Yes.
Don't just let people roll in and come cut in.
Exactly. Stop giving them all this damn space.
And we're getting turnovers. We're increasing our just by a little bit, some turnovers.
Even though we only got like 12 points off turnovers in that game versus Utah's 27, or I think they might have finished with 29.
Yeah. But yeah, it was tough.
It was the Keontae game, honestly, for better or for worse, because he actually had quite a number of turnovers in this game, and he was not assisting. This is part of the reason I was so frustrated with the game plan against Keontae, especially early and even in the second half, was I thought we should have been getting the ball out of his hands a lot sooner than we started trying. He's not going to make that like kill you pass often enough to, not make sense to just try to keep him from being a scorer. All right, let's go to the ace miss inside.
Vyacheslav says, please don't praise the Nuggets' effort in this game. But our defensive effort was...
I think effort wasn't the problem. It was execution, especially at the point of attack. And
on offense, like, Jamal's the only guy showing up for the most part.
So the ace miss inside. So here, again, double big. You can just hit play. Christian kind of taking that middle safety role. It forces a miss by Ace Bailey. Catches him kind of similarly to how Cody Williams caught Christian on that same side of the floor in the second half of the game, and forces like a tougher kind of layup angle, and just a little bit further out. I
Good to see that
like this look.
contest.
Like I like Christian being in the middle and just kind of like helping on everything. And I thought he did it while he was getting completely torched by Keontae. I thought Christian did a good job on Ace both on and off the ball throughout this game. So another example of Christian being a little bit better on guarding these like wingy type creators rather than the guard type creators, which is like great. We have another wing defender. We have anyone who can guard a guard.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the ace miss in the zone, which is just another example of this. Christian is now guarding Ace on this possession. This is like a longer one because they played the preceding free throw. Everyone's moving down the floor. So it's not Ace that he's guarding. So this results from a switch here. Christian just chases him and Ace kind of takes like a longer shot than he needed to there. Ace does. Do you agree?
What were you asking again?
Does Ace Bailey take a longer shot than he needed to here?
Probably.
Yeah.
He rushed it. I don't like either you think
and you just kind of deal with that and you just keep the goal is keep them away from the rim.
Maybe he's an elite mid-range shooter and I just, that was a comfortable spot
for a college student probably, but not good enough to be taking those shots in the NBA.
Yeah.
At least not yet in terms of efficiency. Ace. Okay, so there was one more ace miss here. Where he gets super crowded in the paint. And I think this was the one where I thought that, okay, Val had a chance to, but didn't get a finger on the ball there. But this is like look at this zone. Like we are just moving with whoever has the ball, in this case, Keontae. Like the whole team is kind of on a string here. And then Ace is trying to close out. It's interesting because Ace is, he's actually a pretty good athlete. We see that defensively at times. Like I don't think he had a good defensive game, but he made certain plays at times. But he's not like a quick twitch, like gonna blow by you kind of guy. So I thought he did the worst job of trying to close out or trying to attack closeouts of any Jazz player in this game. And then he gets super crowded, takes a contested midi, and then this one bricks as well.
It's crazy. I mean, he is 19, which is still crazy to think about. Yeah. He's so young. But yeah, he has athleticism, and Val actually contested that one pretty more than I thought he might. I mean, he's pulling up there because it's open, but Val recovers pretty good to get like at least his hand up on it.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have the worst. We had a couple of examples at the beginning of like the defense going poorly in these minutes, and I think these were some of the more egregious ones.
So we're shifting from some turnovers to some bad.
Yeah. So let's go to the Collier driving the zone for a layup. So I believe Isaiah Collier ends up just getting all the way downhill here. Semi-transition, like fully blows by Pickett, fully blows by Jokic, and it's like, ugh. So these are not possessions in the double big, but I kind of took some from the end of the first quarter as well, just to demonstrate some of the issues we had at the point of attack. But you can see here that like Pickett is not guarding him.
What's he do? Yeah.
He's guarding somebody else, and he's trying to take. Well, yeah, but then he's trying to pass him off to. He's like, it's just the way that the defense was structured. Clearly, that wasn't Pickett's assignment. I don't know what the goal was here in this zone.
I don't know.
But whatever it was, they didn't achieve it. I think that I put this one on Tim on rewatch because I think he was supposed to be able to close that gap and get the ball out of Collier's hands and kind of force them to slow down, and he just didn't.
I guess. I don't know. I still don't.
But obviously, like it makes Jokic look pretty bad too because it's like.
Yeah,
you can see him getting downhill. You got to get in position to like at least foul him. And I know Jokic doesn't like to foul purposely that early in the game.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, he almost fouled out, and I think this game,
almost
yeah,
did. Yeah,
yeah. So
it
I
was
mean,
that game.
it was a close one. He had to be a little bit conservative. Although this was the first quarter, he didn't know it was going to get
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
So I think that one was on Tim. I think he needed to be there to close that gap and then let Jokic take the big if he rolled. And we don't know that Sheboy was even going to roll because I think he was more concerned with trying to get Keontae open or Collier open from the top. If you go to the Collier bucket, which is a similar one, except it's Collier off of a closeout attack here. Again, okay, so again, semi-transition. We made this guy look like a
whoa,
quick burst athlete, which is not something that we talked about when we were
we're
going
scouting
over
him with
Collier's scouting
CT.
report with CT exactly.
Yeah,
And like Pickett is trying to guide him a certain direction, but like the stance is way too open, and then Jokic doesn't
they
even
could have
like.
called that an and one. Like Pickett kind of
They
comes
really could
down
have,
on
yeah,
in.
yeah.
That was like lucky. That was one where if you flop it, the refs would have given it to you. Not that I condone that, but
So that wasn't great. And then there's another one here with the Sheboy bucket. This is another one where Tim gets blown by off of a closeout, kind of loses is that Conchar? And then Contra's able to easily get the ball to Sheboy for a little like push shot. And I don't know if
yeah,
this was, I don't think this one was on purpose. I don't think that Tim was necessarily trying to funnel. I think he just got blown by. I think that Jokic probably could have gotten to Sheboy in time, but then you leave, is that Harkless again? It's like, okay, we got to be more willing to leave Elijah Harkless open under the rim here or something. There was a lot of hesitation to do that in this game, which was interesting.
there was more defenders on that side. Yeah, another. I think that was zone. Am I mistaken? Another
Yeah, it was.
because it's operating in the middle of the zone and just nobody actually finishing the end of the play.
And you actually notice like the most egregious defensive possessions that I've got in this kind of reel here were not with the two bigs on the floor. They were.
Yeah. You'd think the slow, like lazy effort D would be with like Val
that was
and
pretty bad
Jokic who can't
from
move
Tim for sure. Yeah. Actually, I don't remember a lot of minutes where Tim was on the floor with both bigs, but I'll have to check the lineup data to see.
That's interesting.
Because that would be an issue. I think that one of the things that stood out was even in the bad offensive possessions, guys weren't lost. It was just like, okay, we got to execute this a little bit better. And it was a lot of Christian, Jamal, Julian, which is like, you don't want to have both of those guys out there at the same time. So probably there were some minutes where it was Tim instead of Julian. But I'd have to go back and check. All right. I think I'm going to cut the very last section of this and just talk about the entry passes to close the show. Because this was the big kind of negative takeaway from this game that was also just like a microcosm of some of the issues that they've been having since Jokic came back from his injury.
Yeah, and a lot of the fan frustration and Jokic's frustration and the physicality.
The reason the Jazz had 27 points off turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those turnovers. First one is this Jamal turnover on an entry pass to Jokic.
All right.
So I think this was the one. Oh yeah, this side of the. So they tried to use Jonas to kind of set a cross screen for Jokic, right, to get open. This is like how they start every game to get Jokic the ball. But Harkless reads this really well, and
Jonas doesn't even make contact on that screen.
Yeah, Jonas doesn't make contact, and that's the main issue here.
Yeah.
I don't think that in retrospect, I was like, maybe that wasn't as bad of a pass from Jamal as I thought. But this is just kind of the beginning of the issues. But here it's like, okay, the play was fine. It's just Jonas needs to make contact on that screen. Let's go to this was actually counted in the play-by-play data as a Julian turnover, but I put this one more on Jokic because of how poorly he sealed, is that Cody Williams? So here he's not even really being fronted. It's just kind of not even a 3/4 front. It's just, I need to keep him. I need to make this. It almost looked like it was just like, make sure that the catch isn't easy, right? And it wasn't, and then it resulted in a turnover.
I mean, Jokic is pissed that Williams is grabbing him for sure. Like, he has two hands,
And he is,
fully
but it's
on
also
him.
a poor seal on Jokic's part. Like, meh. Honestly, if he's gonna be on him like that, I feel like Jokic could just kind of use it to get on the backside and just be like, okay, yeah, fully front me, and then Julian can just enter me the ball in the middle of the floor. It's tough with Cody Williams, even if he was fully fronting Jokic, though, because of his length, and Cody Williams definitely could have deflected that either way. Yeah, like, it's annoying that they're able to grab Jokic like that. I also think it was a bad seal.
Yeah, it's a mix of both. Like, he could do better initially to give himself position. He kind of let Williams sneak on the inside.
Yeah.
Arm, not forcing the issue. Not like, make it an easy pass for Julian.
Okay, let's go to the Jamal out of bounds turnover. So this was another one where I think Jokic was probably I mean, he was fouled, but I don't think that maybe he was fouled as like a slight grab. I also think this was way off target by Jamal. Like, it was just a little too fast, and Jokic was not yet. It was down the middle. It was like down the middle of the floor, and Jokic
Jamal instantly takes blame for it.
Yeah,
he was just like, "Damn, I really fucked that one up."
Yeah. So a lot of these are just like dumb turnovers off of like poor passes, but let's go to the Jamal turnover. I have so many things labeled Jamal turnover. Just go to the next one in the set here. This was on an entry pass as well. Okay, so yeah. So they you got Ace fronting Jokic, and then Keontae comes in to like double front Jokic. And I thought here there was too much traffic, but honestly, it was kind of brave of Keontae to take that gamble and like leave Jamal, because honestly here, I could put, I mean, yeah, I think I would have put this one on Jamal even if that weren't the case. Because Keontae is giving you all this space, but he's so committed to like, gotta get Jokic the ball here. And I don't know if that's a Jamal thing, a Jokic thing, it's the team thing, or DA. But this feels like one of the possessions that DA was probably talking about, where he's like, get aggressive because of the way that they're guarding him. And it's honestly, I think the Jazz do a good job here, because initially you've got Keontae kind of pressing up on Jamal on his initial drive. Then he backs up a little bit while Ace is fronting Jokic. You could hit play here. And then that's when he makes his move. So that was actually like a smart play by Keontae. But I would like to see, like, this isn't the worst turnover ever, but I'd like to see fewer of them. This felt like a fatigue mistake by Jamal, honestly. He did have 7 turnovers in this game, you know, despite the scoring and some good passes. He definitely had some, like, what are we doing?
I think Jokic might have even wanted to re-screen and just couldn't get there, and then that just leaves Jamal to try to dribble and get the pass to him, which is another reason why limiting Jokic's space and ability to move is causing us issues.
Right. But when you limit his space and ability to move, you're giving somebody else space. I think Jamal had space there to just create something, but I think he was so like locked in on trying to get Jokic the ball that it was like too late.
And that's like what's driving you crazy a lot, is a little too focused on that.
Yeah.
And not
like it's so preordained that on every possession down, the other team can just be like, we know exactly what you want to do, and we're just going to take that thing away, do something else. And Jamal did on so many instances that we talked about at the beginning of the show. But I think he and a few others in this game were really either like hesitant to try and make similar plays at times, or just like a lot of the time they were just like staring. There are like turnovers that I don't have in here because it was just like the guy who has the ball holds it for super long, and then while Jokic is trying to seal, and there's like somebody open somewhere else, but they don't even like they're not able to get it to him in time. Okay, let's go to the Jamal clutch turnover, because this one wasn't on an entry pass, but I do think it was a byproduct of how Jokic was being guarded as well. So again, you've got Bailey fronting Jokic and Filipowski leaving Bruce. But it's like weird spacing here. Like, I don't know why Bruce wasn't in the dunker spot. Like, why did he try to move to the corner?
No, you wanted him to stay there.
It. Okay. And when Flip steps up, like I don't like Bruce should have like just been in the corner. Like he doesn't he's like kind of standing in the short corner instead of stay
there.
Just get behind the 3-point line. Just make yourself open. And then this was actually that it wouldn't have changed the outcome of this, because what happens is that Harkless strips Jamal from behind.
True. And he didn't have time to even like him having a read there.
Right. But it was just a very crowded situation as a result of teams being like, we're going to guard you 3-on-2 or sometimes 4-on-2.
Needing the ability for him to use his speed and not get caught up in a million people in the paint.
Right. Exactly. So the fact that it's so crowded means that he can't just kind of go full steam ahead, and gives Harkless the time to strip him from behind.
And it's 2 minutes left in the game. This is when we're starting to panic that we're going to lose another clutch game.
And then they score on that one, right? I think maybe that was the last turnover. Maybe that was their 29th points off turnover. There. All right.
Yeah,
so
they do score. They get a dunk.
Those are some of the bad turnover situations in this game, like the worst ones. A few on entry passes, but I grouped them all together with some of these non-entry pass situations because they were all a byproduct of how Jokic was being guarded.
Yeah.
Now let's go to why you would be so dedicated to forcing the issue with an entry pass to Jokic. Because in this game, when Jokic did catch the ball, he was largely destroying smalls in those situations. So let's start with the clip labeled Jokic destroys smalls. So this was just he's not being fronted, easy entry pass by Pickett, deep seal by Jokic, gets around his guy, misses an initial shot, gets the offensive rebound, puts it back. Easy, right? I think that's Oscar Tshiebwe. He's got no chance here, right? So this is why Utah would front Jokic for most of this game. Now let's go to the bank shot.
Not a hard pass, but Jokic is
not a hard pass at all. Who is guarding him here? Is that Conchar?
Don't know. It's number 55, but
I don't know who that is. I think it is Conchar. He does not front. I think the guys that did the best job of fronting Jokic in this game were Ace Bailey, in terms of like their technique or whatever. Ace Bailey, Cody Williams. Occasionally Tshiebwe was also fronting, and then Harkless when he had the opportunity to guard Nikola Jokic.
With someone that small, this spin move is impossible.
So perhaps the solve would be like, let's get someone on Jokic that is bad at fronting. If they're going to put a small on him, let's try to get like one of the worst smalls on him. It's not something that it's like replicable, because when you're playing like OKC, like all of them are going to be good at that.
That's why it is a tough one. The Wolves.
Yep. They don't really do that though. The Wolves gave Jokic so much more space than OKC did. Particularly when Rudy was on the floor. When he was off, it was a different question. All right, let's go to the repost situation. So Jokic has the ball, gets a little bit of space, but wants more. Tim gets the ball back to him for a repost, and he just scores easily over Keontae. Okay. This
Yep,
is
just pass back
why
out and back
these
in.
are all clips that are like, this is why teams guard him the way that they do in all the other clips that we showed, right? He didn't make every single one of these shots, but he made, I think, 60 or 70% of them. In these instances where he has not even a deep seal, his feet are outside the paint at the beginning of this possession.
Yeah. I mean, Jokic can back people down even from a high position on the floor. It's definitely more taxing. It's harder. It takes
I
longer.
prefer a repost situation,
Yeah.
but that also gives them the opportunity to front him. But there's uh, there's a cost or whatever to be weighed there, because you don't want to give them the opportunity to front if you try to repost, but you also put yourself at higher risk of like blindside turnovers if you try to dribble too much into the traffic that they're definitely going to bring down on him anyway, which is why I put so much stress on guys being able to make plays for themselves and particularly make plays for other guys, taking advantage of the space that they're given when Jokic is guarded that way. Let's go to the no front attempt. So another one where they don't try to front Jokic. And actually, I talked about Harkless doing a good job of it, but I think he just kind of falls asleep here and is like, oh, shoot.
Too
Like,
late.
what do you think is going through his mind at that point what right before Jamal passes Jokic the ball, he's like, shit.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is going to be a bucket.
I was late on this. I was supposed to front, but we did a good job causing some confusion there. And all of this happens despite Ace completely ignoring Bruce in the corner too, right?
Yeah. Man, it's so nice seeing Jokic just be able to actually do a post play and just use his body against a mismatch and just score easy. No BS. None of this fronting, and I just want to see it.
Well, you're not going to see it that much. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts.
It's a rough life.
Let's go to Yoke just misses. So this was one that I thought was pretty. Vyacheslav says, "Lol, come on, Grace." What did he say?
What can Harkless do? He was helpless. He was.
Oh no, he was totally helpless. Yeah. He should have fronted there. Like, the point is, you have to stop him from getting the ball, otherwise you're cooked. That's why teams throw so many resources into preventing the catch in the first place. Right. The reason I included these clips is to demonstrate why teams guard him like this, right? Or guard him like they do in most possessions in this game. He was being fronted in some way, fronted, three-quarter fronted, whatever, to try and prevent the catch. Yeah. So we go to Yoke just misses. So this one I thought was a pretty good shot. Similar situation. So Conchar, it's actually initially fronting him here. Yoke is able to get around him, get the seal, and then he misses it off the front of the rim, which is like rare for him, but not over the last month. As he's not really, even in like his good games, he hasn't regained like that god tier efficiency, right?
This guy is
scoring efficiency in that like money area.
Yeah,
but I thought this was another example of why, like, you don't, the Jazz were thanking heaven here that he missed, because that should have been a bucket.
Yeah. Really quick, Cameron Johnson, do you think Denver lacks quick downhill threats on offense to capitalize when it's happening to Jokic, when he's getting fronted?
Yes, Cameron Johnson. If you are a long time watcher of the show, you'll know that this is a thing that I've been lamenting about this roster for the last 2 off seasons. In particular, downhill threats that are quick, like you talk about there, that are able to take advantage of this. And even if you're not like Jamal's not necessarily like a super quick downhill threat, but he's like a really good manipulator of space. I think that would be a really, like, that's why I would have loved Aya Dosunmu on this team as a like complement to that skill set, in terms of providing like a different alternative there. P-Watt can help, but I don't know how P-Watt's going to play when he's playing with Jokic in like a high leverage environment, in terms of like how the team's going to let him play.
Danny, no Tuesday. He's bringing up KJ looking quick. I'm hopeful let's see.
KJ's on a two-way, so he's not playing in the playoffs. And he also, we got news today that he's been sent back to the G League. So I don't think we're going to see him maybe ever again.
I figured that was coming since we've been signing so many people and another
and they also
on
said
top
that
of it.
Tyus is available tonight. Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to play, but he is available.
I think he will. Then
yeah.
We'll see if he can do something. I doubt it, though.
Okay, so the very last entry pass clip I wanted to show here is the Pickett tight window pass. He hasn't really made too many of these tight window entry passes to Jokic. He's made a few, but oftentimes he's a little bit more cautious with the ball, and I'm fine with that if it means no turnovers to a degree. So Jokic's being fronted, I think, pretty well by Harkless here, and then on the back side, somebody rotates over to try and make this a very contested catch, but Jokic is able to catch it and,
that was a good pass.
This is a very Russ-esque entry pass, honestly.
Amazing pass.
He put it where he didn't put it in the perfect place for Jokic to catch it, but he put it where only Jokic could catch it.
Yeah, and then it led to a really good. Yeah. He carried his momentum to then score.
Yeah.
At the rim.
It helps that he has suction cup hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an underrated skill. I did want to bring up a chat question. This was from a while ago. I can't find the comment, but it was from Danny No to ZP asking about Tamar Bates and the fact that should he have been, waived earlier with the fact that he had the injury, and should they have not done that considering that he has more rehab and all that? Do you have any thoughts?
Should he have waived? Okay, that's two opposite questions. Should he have been waived earlier or not waived at all? Is that the question?
Well, if they were going to just waive him, should they have just waived him earlier?
I don't know that they knew they were going to waive him because it was still a question of when are they going to convert Spencer? So we knew that there would be at least one spot opening up. KJ didn't become available until very soon before we signed him to that two-way slot after converting Spencer, I believe. And so at that point, you're I don't know who's going to be available. We don't have any reason to waive this guy. So in terms of should he have been waived earlier? I would say no. I feel really bad for him getting waived when he did because of the injury and the rehab and stuff. And I think at some point in the season, two-way contracts become guaranteed. I don't know if Tamar got to that point or there's some partial guarantee at some point. So I feel bad about that, but it's well, I hope you were saving your money, kid. It's not even he's not necessarily going to be out next year. I think it was a foot fracture or something. He'll probably be good to go next season. I just, it's hard to get a chance anytime, so it's tough. So in terms of morally and ethically, I don't love that, especially if you're signing some I hope they plan on playing David Roddy. I mean, as a fan, I'm not sure that I feel that way, but if you're going to waive a guy who, is injured, I hope it's for somebody who's actually going to play.
Yeah.
Which is probably what they were waiting for also. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Scammerin, is it crazy to say I wanted to sign KJ on the roster spot over Tyus? Because KJ has shown screen navigation and high energy.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that because I was kind of feeling that, and I was am I crazy?
In a playoff setting anyway. Oh, go ahead.
I'm glad he said it because I was kind of almost thinking the same thing, but I just thought I was crazy.
I don't know that I would have given KJ a roster spot, but I mean, after if the choice is between him and Tyus, I don't know, man. I don't think any of them would be playing in any kind of high leverage moment when things matter. I understand wanting to have a veteran there, somebody who's literally played in those environments before, not played well in the case of Tyus in the playoffs, but has, that experience and stuff. I don't know. I think it's that meme of the two homeless people fighting. Honestly, I just don't think it really matters that much. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to our predictions before we close out the show. We have 5 games coming up over the next week or so, 7 days. would you like to start us off by giving us your prediction against the LA Lakers tonight?
Yeah, Vyacheslav asked percentage that we win. I said 60%. He says, wow, very low. I guess it's low, but it's better than 50%.
I mean, they
Which
haven't
kind of
been winning
feels like what the
60% of their games,
Nuggets are
Vyacheslav,
every
especially
night.
at home. So I don't know why you think that that's very low. That's like a higher win percentage than they have at home right now.
But don't worry, because I'm saying we're going to win.
All right.
We're going to win this game.
I have this game as an L.
No.
I think for narrative purposes, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, by the end of the year, it's like, the Denver Nuggets haven't beat the Lakers since JJ's third game against the Nuggets. Has JJ Redick figured out Nikola Jokic? And then we'll get matched up with them in the playoffs and then sweep them again.
And crush them. Yeah. I just feel like we're going to get revenge for losing that last one. And I feel like, I don't know. We'll see, though. They're so unpredictable, these games, man. I said when we were like, I don't know if it was during the Jazz game or the Wolves game, but I was saying I'm shifting my expectations for this team without AG to be like a loss every time. And so some of these predictions coming up assumes maybe AG is going to be playing, but I don't know when exactly. I mean, there was a chance he was going to play tomorrow, not today, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, I'll do the next one. So this is the one out of the 5 that I feel the most confident in the results. And that is a win against the Knicks. And that's because the Knicks will be on their third game in 4 nights on a West Coast road trip. And it'll be Denver on a back-to-back, I think, coming off of a loss to the Lakers. So, but regardless of them coming off a loss, they're always better in back-to-backs. So I'm going to go with a W here.
I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm going loss just because it's the Knicks. I just feel like they're going to.
We don't usually beat the Knicks unless they're injured. Maybe they'll be resting somebody.
Yeah, Danny saying heard elsewhere AG targeting Knicks game. And they did say Friday maybe is the time he's looking to come back.
I actually can't remember a time that we've beat a fully healthy Knicks team since I've been watching them.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. But
that is totally fair. I also think that they're worse than they've been.
Yeah, that's also true.
We'll see.
They're pissed off from losing that Thunder game. Do they have another game before we play them?
No.
I would think. Okay.
Okay, you can take OKC.
Okay, I'm going with a W on this. I feel like if AG doesn't come back against the Knicks, maybe he'll be available for the Thunder. And we almost beat them in that last game. I feel like we are going to be really focused in this one and like try to prove that we can actually beat them because we know like they're the number one enemy in the hill we need to climb. So I just feel like we're going to be able to pull off at least one win against them in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't think we get swept by OKC. That's why I also have this one as a win. I think we actually win probably the last 2, especially because the last one's on game 81. I just feel like we're going to win this one. I don't think they're going to be as motivated in this game. I just think that we're going to be pretty motivated to win. And yeah.
So you have a W?
I've got a W here.
Nice.
For sure. I'm looking at the division records here. Damn, we're 6-4 in division, so it's time to step that up. All right, for Houston, I've got this one as a loss. Denver can clinch tiebreaker with Houston in this game, but it's at home and we suck at home. And I think Houston wants to avoid losing tiebreaker to Denver, so they want to split the season series. This one is probably the one I'm the least sure of. Yeah. This is the one I'm least sure of. Because I also think that Denver is way better than Houston, even in their current state, which is crazy.
Same.
That says more about Houston than Denver.
That's why I'm taking us to win. I feel like from what I've seen, from the matchups previously, we match up really well. I think that the Rockets they were reeling a little bit. They were getting a little bit better lately, but I still think we're going to win. And again, AG is going to be back, and I'm just going to assume he's going to be healthy. And I mean, I know that like the first games are going to be tough to come back because he's coming off the hamstring. He looked like he was playing a little bit conservatively, didn't want to re-injure himself when he came back the last time. Hopefully they're not making that mistake again and rushing him back to where he's playing, but he kind of looks conservative. He's probably going to look somewhat conservative, but by this time, if we lose to the Knicks and the Thunder, I feel like this could be like a game where we like come out and get right. And, you know, we beat the Celtics. We can beat impressive teams sometimes. So,
yeah. I mean, the Rockets aren't impressive, though.
Yeah.
Even though they're ahead of us in the standings. Okay, so that's Houston. Do you want to take the Spurs?
Oh yeah, I'm going with a loss.
I am also going with a loss.
Sorry, fans. The Spurs are just a tough team. They got perimeter at like quickness and athleticism and shooting.
They drive and kick.
Wemby.
They actually drive and kick. They're like, unlike Utah.
Mm-hmm. It is a way though, and for some reason we've been winning those kinds of games. But I don't know if on the road in the West
we should have won that first one. But that clutch defense, and not just clutch defense, we were pretty bad defensively throughout that game. It was a really bad, like, Jamal defensive game, especially. And then in the clutch, it was just like, can you get a stop? And the answer was no. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Cameron Johnson
says, if we go 1-6, well, we're only predicting 5 games, so that is not possible. What will be your guys' reaction, and what does that mean for Denver? Well, if we go 1-6, we'll probably fall into the play-in range. I don't know. What will be my reaction? I don't know. Yeaman says the fine. 0-5. Sure. I think they'll win at least one. Like, I really do think they're going to win the next game. If they don't, like, I just think they're going to beat OKC. I mean, they obviously could go 0-5 in this stretch. All of these are good teams. But I just don't think that will happen. So
yeah, I wasn't sure either. I mean, it's so hard to predict this team these days.
I'm predicting them to go below 500 against these playoff teams because
this is a really tough stretch. What would be my assessment if though we like really screwed this one up? I don't. Depends on how we lose and how Jokic looks, how AG looks.
I don't know if we lose by being blown out by all these teams, that would feel really bad. If we lose by losing all these games close like we have been, I think I'd feel worse. Because I just like lose all hope for this team like turning that aspect around.
But if they got blown out, what would be your assessment? Just like, I
just don't see that happening, frankly. I just think if they're going to lose these games, they're going to be close. They haven't been blown out really much this season, which is I mean, that's good and bad. It just means that the losses have all been close, and there've been many.
Yeah. Well, that about does it. We're heading into the Lakers game. I think at least I predicted a win for that. So hopefully they don't disappoint me and I start off incorrect right off the bat.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up then. It's been a while since we did like a full like 2.5 hour show. Well, if you guys have made it this far, you guys are the real.
Yeah, thanks for hanging around, everyone in the chat right now. You're amazing. That's awesome.
We appreciate you guys the most. If you like our content, please remember to click the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on socials. All our links are in the description. And always remember that winning is fun and losing sucks, especially losing to the Lakers. So prove me wrong, Nuggets.